Let's see. It's not coming out there, so that's good.
Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Guess what? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Where are we right now? Right now. You are here with us on our Mass Faith 3 channel. Now, you may be with us on Facebook, and you may be with us after the fact when I upload this to Resistance Chicks. But for those of you that are literally with us right this second at 9:23 p.m. on April 19th, 2018, you will note that our live streaming ability is back, baby. So I thought I would check on a whim to see if it was back, and it is. And Leah and I went back and forth. Do we do it now? How will they know? How will they know?
So if you're watching this, we're going to go back on Resistance Chicks tomorrow night to let everybody know, because everybody comes there at 6 o'clock. But next Friday following, we'll be here.
Oh, wait, the mic sounds off. Thank you, Maia. Let me double check. See if the mic is... See, y'all people, Maia knows stuff. She's got the ear that hears. The mic, my mic was not turned on. I was using the webcam mic. All right, that should fix it. So really, really exciting stuff. I cannot be more excited that our Mass Faith 3 channel is back. I literally was dancing.
I can't believe it's been 3 months.
Tell them I was dancing. I'm not even going to mention the video or the name or anything. We're just going to water under the bridge, baby. YouTube, we forgive you.
Yeah, right.
Sort of.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. The other shocking news, and I got to tell you where my brain immediately goes when I hear this. Trump's going to meet with Kim Jong what kind of name? Kim Jong
Kim Jong.
Which is fine and dandy.
So what's right? It was more than 90 days. It was like 92 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
As he said it would be.
So my mind literally says to myself, you're going to meet with Kim Jong-un, and the entire mainstream media says it's awesome.
You want to say Rocket Man? It's easier.
You're going to meet with Rocket Man. Thank you. That's so much better.
Rocket Man.
But what about Bashar al-Assad?
Mm.
What about... Because, truthfully, the worst dictator on the face of the planet right now
is Rocket Man.
Is Rocket Man. I mean, these
we're gonna have to double up the volume while I get there.
People are literally prisoners. There's the map that you see when all the lights go out, or all the sun goes down and the lights come on, and North Korea is dark. They don't have electricity except for in his little area. Mm-hmm. They're not allowed out. They shoot people who leave the country. All right.
It's telling me we're buffering.
We're buffering. We're working out.
I hope we don't have issues with this.
But for all intents and purposes, it is because we're on Mass Faith 3, I'm sure of it.
I'm sure.
He's going to meet with it. Now, he did say this, is what President Trump said. If I feel that when I meet with him that it's not going to be a productive meeting, I'm just going to walk out and leave. Mm-hmm. And if at any point I feel before the meeting that it's not going to be a good meeting, then I won't go. But you just bombed Syria for human rights violations that you don't have proof of. These people eat like animal dung because they're starving to death. It is a world, it's a nationwide cult. And I am all for him talking to Rocket Man.
Right.
I think it would have been great for him to sit down with Bashar al-Assad
and
so Putin and talk to them one-on-one, mano-a-mano. So let's see. I have this statement of Donald Trump over here in one of my tweets over here. All right. So here's Trumpy baby. Trumpmeister.
North Korea is coming along.
So let me know if
Korea is
it's fixed now.
Has plans to meet with North Korea to see if they can end the war, and they have my blessing on that. And they've been very generous that without us and without me in particular, I guess, you would have to say that they wouldn't be discussing anything, including the Olympics would have been a failure. Instead, it was a great success. They would have had a real problem. But as you know, North Korea participated in the Olympics, and it made it Really, it was quite an Olympics. It was quite a success. That would not have happened. And they do have my blessing to discuss the end to the war. People don't realize the Korean War has not ended. It's going on right now, and they are discussing an end to the war. So, subject to a deal, they would certainly have my blessing, and they do have my blessing to discuss that.
So that is his. That was before his decision to meet with Rocket Man. Now he did. Mike Pompeo is not confirmed as of right now, but Trump sent him over there. He said we had some people at the highest levels talking to. We talked to the people at the highest levels. So, what are your thoughts? I think it's great. North Korea has said it's willing to denuclearize, I guess Trump is going to play a greater role after the meeting with North Korea and South Korea. So I guess North Korea and South Korea are going to meet on April 27th. And negotiators from both Koreas have agreed on a rough framework for the joint declaration. They are still discussing other aspects of the joint statement, such as whether the two Koreas would commit to holding further summit meetings on a regular basis. South Korea is trying to persuade North Korea that Mr. Moon and Mr. Kim should hold a joint news conference at the end of their meeting. So,
Devonna says, oh my goodness, breaking. National Command Night Watch, all capitals, is airborne. The Night Watch's primary mission is to safely carry the National Command authorities and enable them to order a nuclear strike. I can't confirm that. I don't know much about it, but since that was in the comments, I wanted to pass that along.
We're gonna talk about Syria, and we're gonna talk about Comey. Now, Laura Loomer, she is really good at confronting people. I'm not good at watching those kind of confrontations.
It's painful for me.
So she confronts Comey at the book signing. You can watch that. But what I will show you is a clip here, if I can find it, with McCain's daughter. Let's see if I can find her clip here. Pushing James Comey and basically saying, you lied. And he says, oh, it's no good deal.
No, well, and also, Comey is quoted as saying, good people do lie.
I know.
It's like,
yeah.
He's like, I lie. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of proves that bad people lie.
Find just going to click through. I try to have them all up, but when I was bringing everything up for you guys tonight, North Korea appears to be caving to Trump even before he meets with Kim Jong-un. We'll go back to that real quick.
Rocket Man.
North Korean leader Rocket Man appears to be making huge concessions before meeting with President Trump or South Korean President Moon Jae-in. Kim's apparent caving into U.S. desires could be the result of Trump's rallying the world to put financial and military pressure on North Korea, or it could be a trick, as North Korea has tricked the U.S. in allowing its sanctions relief before. Much of the recent news around Kim's intentions hasn't actually come from Kim, but from Moon, who may have an interest in softening North Korea's rhetoric. North Korean leader Rocket Man appears to be making huge concessions, but Moon said on Thursday that after South Korean diplomats held a series of meetings with Kim and his inner circle, that North Korea essentially wanted nothing in return for ridding itself of nuclear weapons. According to Mr. Moon, North Korea wants complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. While experts usually take that to include a removal of U.S. forces from South Korea, Moon said that was not the case. I don't think denuclearization has different meanings from North and South Korea. The North is expressing a will for complete denuclearization. Moon went on to say that North Korea wouldn't be asking the U.S. to do much in return. They have not attached any conditions that the U.S. cannot accept, such as the withdrawal of American troops from South Korea. And they are talking about an end to hostile policies against North Korea, followed by a guarantee of security. It may be too good to be true, but
it kind of feels that way to me. I'm just being honest. I'm going to just give you what I'm thinking, how my brain is processing.
So we're going to see.
Let's be hopeful. I know a lot of people, one of the things that they like to talk about with Trump's presidency is how well he has handled the situation in North Korea without bombing it, Syria. So there is that. I don't want to take that away.
Right.
But it does feel too good to be true, and sometimes things that feel too good to be true can just be true.
Today just means
just saying.
Yeah. Sometimes it is too good to be true. But we'll see. We shall see. Where are you, little McCain girl? I might have to... All right. Did you guys know that Comey's wife, entire family, supported Hillary for president? And his wife cried on election day.
She cried, dude. Girl shed some tears.
Let's play this here.
On Saturday, January 21st, masses of demonstrators take to the streets, among them the family of James Comey.
My wife and girls marched in the Women's March the day after President Trump's inauguration. At least my 4 daughters, probably all 5 of my kids, wanted Hillary Clinton to be the first woman president. I know my amazing spouse did.
I wanted a woman president really badly, and I supported Hillary Clinton. A lot of my friends worked for her, and I was devastated when she lost.
A lot of my friends worked for Hillary Clinton. Now, let me ask you something, because I hear a lot about people that, you know, say, I knew somebody that worked for Hillary, or they worked for Hillary, or something like that. Can she have that many people working for her? It's got to be a semi-small circle.
Right.
Okay? So I'm just saying that if your friends worked for Hillary, then you're corrupt too. It's not just a happenstance kind of thing.
Yeah, so the crazy thing about that is that Trump fired James Comey and he's all upset about it. But Comey's wife literally walked in the giant march
protesting Trump. It was
Trump.
You guys have to understand something. Comey was trying to play it off like it was just a march for women.
Right.
It was the day after President Trump's inauguration, and they were all protesting Trump's inauguration. Hence, Madonna's, and I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Right.
Speech. You understand that?
So the fact your wife should not be marching against your future boss, and then you say, and for Trump to say, hey, will you give me loyalty, is not that big of a deal. I'm going to find this thing.
We were talking about this the other day. Wasn't it Paul Ryan's wife?
Yeah,
is a Democrat. And we were talking about how, you know what? When you're one with somebody and you're married to that person, you have to be on the same page politically. I don't care what all y'all people that may be married or whatever in the chat and y'all say you work it out. And no, I'm not married, but I got to tell you something. I know how it is supposed to be. You cannot be on a completely different political spectrum as the person that you are one with without it melding one way or the other or both or whatever. Muddying the waters is the best term that I have.
So here's this clip here. McCabe was fired the day before he was supposed to collect full retirement. And everybody was upset on the left, and they even started a GoFundMe for him. However, the IG report came out that he lied, lack of candor, 4 times. And Comey was questioned about that, and he basically said, I lie. People lie. Good people lie. And so McCabe can be a good man and still lie.
And McCabe was fired for lying multiple times within the FBI. You defended his character on Twitter. That's okay. Lying is okay internally.
No, it's definitely not. In fact, the McCabe case illustrates what an organization that's committed to the truth looks like. We investigated I ordered that investigation. We investigated, hold people accountable. Good people lie. I lay out in the book, I think I'm a good person where I've lied. I still believe Andrew McCabe is a good person.
Still believes Andrew McCabe is a good person.
You know what?
He did more than lie, though. He did more than lie. 4 times he lied, and he blamed the leak and launched an investigation, an internal investigation, and blamed other people for leaking what he'd leaked.
Laura Ingraham said, you know what? General Flynn didn't exactly get that same, vote of confidence or pass, as it were. And I want to tell you all something. There's a difference between lying when somebody comes up to you and says, do I look fat in this? And you say, oh, no, you don't. You look real super slim. Right. And what McCabe did.
Right.
Okay? Not the same kind of lying, y'all.
Right.
What you got, Mama?
It's false alert.
False alert.
False
You mean
alert.
flash?
Oh, flash. Oh, sorry, I thought it said false.
Flash alert.
It says flash alert.
Flash alert.
But it just says 2 bombers over Minnesota.
That must be what Devonna was talking about with the night watch.
We'll check into that.
We will check
into
into
that. If you guys have any links, if you guys have any links for that
you can email them to me. Let me pull up my email. Massfaith3 MASFAIT33 @gmail.com.
So here we go. DOJ watchdog sends criminal referral for McCabe to federal prosecutor. Are you ready for this?
We're ready.
James Comey, the former FBI head who was fired by President Trump. His number two is in deep trouble right now. An inspector general appointed by Barack Obama has said of Andy McCabe that he lied. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times, but 3 times to federal officials, federal investigators. Each time, that's a crime. Each time you're proven to have done it, 5 years in jail if found guilty. The IG has already sent out a report recommending this action, and it comes at a time when everything's about who do you trust and how do you trust. Already, Mr. Comey has said that I still believe Andy McCabe is a good person, but the IG found that he lied. And of course, Mr. Comey's lawyers and Mr. McCabe's lawyers have had very differing views on it.
He obviously doesn't care because one of those lies was to James Comey.
But okay, so I've got somebody in the comment here saying, everyone lies, everyone. You're right. A lot of people do lie. Most of us try not to if we can help it.
But you don't get to lie to the FBI.
Thank you. There's different, y'all got to understand something. When you are working for the government and your job relies on truth, you are not allowed to lie. You can go and lie to your wife. You can go lie to your husband. You can go lie to your pastor. I don't care. You cannot
when you're
lie.
Being interviewed by the FBI and they point blank ask you, did you leak this to the Washington Post? And you say no. You go to prison for lying. People go to prison for lying all the time. When you're sworn under oath, that's when you don't get to lie.
Right.
Okay, you don't get to lie. Murder gets on the stand. Did you kill this person? No, you don't get to lie. I'm sorry.
Don't get to do it.
And to top it all off, he covered it up and blamed other people. This isn't just a lie. This is a giant conspiracy.
Right.
All this, but it is, in a word, a mess. Defense attorney Ted Williams on how all this sorts out. What do you think, Ted?
Well, it's not only a mess, Neil, it is a circus. It's a very sad time in the annals of a once proud organization, the FBI, where your number one and your number two man, specifically your number two man, is lied on at least 4 different occasions. And just think about this, Neil. Your number one man, who at the time was James Comey, who I believe President Barack Obama should have fired, is now going to have to testify against his number two. This is very sad. And Comey, specifically, the number one man, bears a great deal of responsibility here for politicizing a once proud organization, Neil.
All right, Ted, I just want to get your reaction to the reaction of the statement from the McCabe legal team on all of this. We were advised, referring to the IG referral, criminal referral, within the past few weeks. Although we believe the referral is unjustified, the standard for an IG referral is very low. We have already met with staff members from the U.S. Attorney's Office. We're confident that unless there is inappropriate pressure from high levels of the administration, the U.S. Attorney's Office will conclude that it should decline.
So what about Mike? What about Flynn? What about Flynn? He lied one time.
And it's not even actually proven exactly how. I mean, because even Laura Ingraham pointed that out. She's like, I'm not really convinced that he lied, but whatever. They said he lied to get fired, but
remember who was in there? Who was in there was the Strzok guy who was trying to get his insurance policy against Donald Trump, and he didn't have a lawyer present. It went down badly.
I like what Scotty says here. I'll never understand when people write books about themselves, especially when they stink and aren't good at anything or aren't interesting at all.
I know.
To prosecute. What do you make of that? I mean, talking about pressure from above seems to be the same thing Republicans were fearful of with this Obama-appointed IG, that it wouldn't be fair. Now they're reversing it and saying the same about Republicans.
Neil, it's, with all due respect, BS. It's a spin that they are putting on this. Look, once there's a criminal referral to the United States Attorney's Office, they're not going to come out and tell McCabe and his attorneys what they're going to do. They're looking at this. I don't know what period of time they've had this criminal referral. We're learning of it clearly today, but they could have had it for some time. It is well within the discretion of the United States Attorney here in the District of Columbia to make a determination as to whether they're going to go forward with a criminal prosecution. But think about it. You, the number 2 man, lies, not on 1 occasion, not on 2 occasions, not on 3 occasions, but 4 occasions you lied. Neil, I want you to know, if you lied on 1 occasion under 42 U.S.C. 1001, lying to a federal agent, they could put your butt in jail.
Wow. I was curious about another thing, too, about the fact that Comey and his number 2, the former number 2, have different takes on a number of developments now. What is to stop someone from looking at this ongoing investigation, regardless of where it ends up, but that there was an inherent bias at the FBI toward this administration? Whatever you think of Donald Trump, whatever you think of the people around him and the fears that a lot of people there had of him coming into office, that knowing now their views, Comey on a book tour, McCabe with comments since his firing, and a lot of the emails and everything else that have been revealed between a host of other officials, that there might have been a reason for the president to be paranoid about this, because they were gunning for him.
Well, it's a sad commentary when these good, fine men and women of the FBI only want to do their job, and the number 1 and 2 seem to have a political, personal interest that benefits either Trump or Clinton, because I do believe that Comey, in coming out at the time, 11 days before election, actually benefited Trump under the circumstances. But then you found McCabe, who wanted to leak stuff to the media concerning Trump, and then lied about it. All that does is create distrust
and by the way,
in an agency.
To be clear, he lied about it to Comey, if we're to believe this. So
yeah, so this is just a mess. It's just a mess. What a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. The FBI is the worst tangled web. You know how, so I have long hair. Sometimes you get a knot and you're brushing it and you're just thinking and you're picking and you're like, oh my gosh. At some point, sometimes I just have to cut it out. Literally, I will just cut the knot out. That's what they need to do with the FBI. You just got to cut it out. It's too tangled. It's too messed up. There are too many people that are compromised and corrupt in that agency. They have too much power. They got to go. So Sarah Carter has been writing extensively about all the inner workings and everything that's going down inside of the corruption with the Uranium One and the Hillary, A1 brothers, all this stuff. Well, our representatives literally just dropped some charges that they are recommending against Comey, Clinton, Lynch, McCabe, Strzok, and Page. It does seem too good to be true, but here is a list of all the different obstruction before Congress, obstruction proceedings, federal election campaign disclosure funds, contribution donation by foreign, false statements and concealments, Hillary Clinton. They did recommend charges be brought. Now, this was the Congress. I don't know what Jeff Sessions, the Justice Department, is going to do here. Obviously, the investigators don't want to investigate what they already didn't want to investigate, because they're still there. That we haven't put in all new FBI, all new DOJ, so you can recommend to the Department of Justice, but doesn't mean they're going to do anything different than what they did before. But we shall see. Matt Gaetz here, obvious hypocrisy here. So let's see.
Standard. Obvious hypocrisy when you look at how the colleagues of Hillary Clinton were treated and how the colleagues of Donald Trump are being treated now. Hillary Clinton's entire team was given the opportunity to review their own documents and self-curate what they were going to present as evidence. They also got immunity deals from the Obama Justice Department. Compare that to people who've had associations with Donald Trump. They're getting raided with no notice, no warning, no ability to separate out information that has nothing to do with foreign interference in our election process. And when the American people see the way Donald Trump is treated, when they see how unfair this is, they continue to rally to our cause. Lou, I think it's one of the reasons why the president's approval rating continues to rise, because regular folks in this country see what a sham it is. The Democrats are working together with the deep state to discredit the duly elected president of the United States while ignoring...
Every time they say deep state now, I'm going to ring a bell, because it wasn't a thing before the election. Like, nobody said deep state before.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Their own crimes and misconduct. That is not the rule of law in the United States.
It's not the rule of law, and you have the only cabinet member in history in this country cited for contempt by the Congress of the United States, one Eric Holder, who perpetrated more scandals than any attorney general that I can certainly recall, saying he would like to run for president and wants to head for New Hampshire. I mean, are you kidding me? This is reaching
I hope
the
Eric
level
Holder
of
runs for president.
Well,
I hope
so
we can
do
talk
I,
all
but
about Fast and Furious, and I think the Democrats could have no better standard bearer than Eric Holder, because he represents all of the scandals and lies and mistreatment of justice that was so just emblematic of the Obama era.
Part of me really, though.
So this is Matt Gaetz talking about the Congress is recommending criminal charges. So we'll see where that goes. We shall see where that goes. I'm not sure that it's going to go anywhere, but it would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
All right, so here, Comey testified that he didn't make the decision regarding Hillary Clinton until after she was interviewed, but evidence demonstrates, and these are congressmen kind of going on news channels talking about the different things that they want to be investigated.
He testified to the Congress that he did not make any decision regarding Secretary Clinton until after she was interviewed. He was asked that specifically by one of my colleagues, and yet the evidence that's come out since then demonstrates that actually they made this determination months before not only interviewing Secretary Clinton, but also interviewing a number of key witnesses. And so the lack of candor with the Congress is something that needs to be investigated.
Yeah. Lack of candor. Can we just say lying?
That makes me sick, I have to tell you. Lack of candor. No.
Yeah, it makes me sick too, actually, too. All right, so tomorrow is another national walkout against guns, another gun grab.
Kids just want exercise, and I want to let them know you could walk anytime that you want. You can just go walking.
So we'll cover that tomorrow. So I'm not going to go into it today.
Can I just remind you all that we're live on Mass Faith 3 right now?
Hi guys. However, David Hogg, interestingly enough, called for a boycott of what he says are the biggest investors in gun manufacturers, BlackRock and the Vanguard Group. However, they help fund CNN and Facebook, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, AT&T, McDonald's, Netflix, Amazon, Microsoft, Intel, Boeing, Johnson & Johnson, Starbucks, Costco, Nike, and more all use the Vanguard and BlackRock for their investments.
Really? Yeah, this is so convenient.
So yeah, so it's that is what it is. So there is a guy who went into Starbucks. You guys hear about the Starbucks?
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Go ahead, Tom.
I guess a couple black guys went into Starbucks, sat down, didn't order anything, said they were waiting for a friend. They were asked to leave, and then they didn't leave, so then they were arrested.
Wait, why can't you go into Starbucks and sit down, though?
So Starbucks, from what I understand, is closing down tomorrow for sensitivity training. I don't know why. I don't know. Some places, if you don't buy something, you can't go in.
Okay.
There's a lot of places. You can't use a bathroom unless you buy something, or
right.
There's a lot of places who have that as their policy. So this guy goes in, says, I heard that you guys were giving away free coffee because you're racist.
For reparations.
And he got free coffee.
Video has gone completely viral, so we asked comedian provocateur Brian Sharp to join us this evening, and there he is. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Laura, how are you?
You totally fooled me, okay? Because I played this on my radio show this morning. My producers and I were screaming. We're like, this sounds... If I didn't know better, it sounds like you sound like Chris Rock. I mean, it's so funny, and that poor girl in Starbucks is ready to turn over the keys to the shop to you. She was so worried. But tell me why you did what you did by asking for reparations going into that Starbucks and saying, I want my free coffee for what you did basically in Philly. She said, oh, okay, I'm giving you the coffee. Why did you do this?
I am sick and tired of liberals using black people and making us look like victims, making us look soft with their liberal dogma. It is disgusting. The other thing I hate about liberals is, if you're a black man, as I am, in America, they will not hand you a microphone unless you follow the liberal narrative. And I said, you know what? I bet if I go into Starbucks and I follow a liberal narrative, I'll make the news. And voila, here I am.
Performance art. Now, when you talked to her when you went in there and you had it on the cell phone, the young woman says, well, yeah, I think I saw that on Twitter. Like, she actually thought there was something on Twitter that anytime a black person came into Starbucks, you just had to hand them a coffee. And we're wondering, why did you just go for the coffee? Why didn't you go for, like, the entire, blender to make those fancy smoothie drinks? I mean, you just went for the regular coffee. You should have really upped the ante there.
She went straight for the venti. I have to give Amanda props. She went for the venti. I got a large. She gave me milk. I should have asked for almond milk. And she did give me caramel with the sugar in it. So,
are you getting grief? Are you getting grief for this? From friends, grief for this from friends, liberals, saying, how dare you do this? This is a serious issue, and now you're making light of it. How dare you?
Like I said in my book on booksbybrian.com, you're going to get enemies. And you have to learn how to use them. I have a chapter in my book that talks about how to use enemies, and I know how to use them. So I embrace the hate. I embrace it because it gets balanced out with love. But all the people that hate, they're just brainwashed by liberals. That's all it is. They're afraid to think for themselves.
We have a longer clip, Brian. Hold on, because we have a longer clip because people who somehow missed the top of the show.
Do you have the actual clip?
I want to play the longer clip if we can.
Because it doesn't show up here. I watched this last night.
Can we play the original?
They don't have it. They don't have it. All right. This, I think it might be up here. It's really funny.
It is really funny.
I heard y'all were... I have it. It's on, actually, it's on, I think it's on Resistance Tricks. All right.
We about to go inside, get my free coffee. Y'all ready?
I guess the voice is off.
Y'all ready?
There you go. Just leave it that.
Are y'all ready?
That's fine.
About to get my free coffee.
This is really funny. So on Facebook, Brian Renfro says that he was on InfoWars today and had an outstanding interview.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, I heard y'all was racist, so I came to get my free coffee.
I saw that.
Yeah, I heard you guys don't like black people, so I wanted to get my Starbucks reparations voucher. What's that?
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing.
I mean, I'll give it to you. I saw that on my Twitter last night. I was like,
Yeah, I need a free coffee. That's what I'm talking about. This is justice.
Billy? What? Are you serious?
This is justice. This is what I'm talking about. It's great customer service.
Yeah, I was reading that and I was like, there is no way.
Absolutely.
She didn't ask me what he wanted.
Could you imagine?
She just made him up a coffee. That's weird.
You just throw some milk in it?
Sure. What kind?
Whole. Yeah. reparations, man. Gotta get my reparations for being black in America. Black Lives Matter.
What do we need flavors in it? We got caramel, hazelnut.
I'll take caramel. Is that gonna make it sweet? Yes.
This is fantastic, I have to tell you. I'm sorry.
Huh?
It's killing me. It is so killing me.
I wonder what Starbucks did to the little girl.
You know what she did?
What's your name? I appreciate you. Amanda, you are great.
Last day here until the fall.
Is it?
It's her last
You're
day there
amazing.
until the fall.
I was speaking at Ryder, and our finals are starting next week.
Uh-huh.
So I had to stop working so I can do my finals and stuff, and then I go home for the summer.
I wish you the best. Yeah. You too. Thank you.
She did the best that she could.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta get your free coffee out here, man. You gotta get your Starbucks reparations, man. Huh? Yeah. This is how we do, man. Black Lives Matter, baby.
So I don't actually, in all honesty, what she should have done is
Black privilege gets me free coffee. I love racism only in America.
She should have gone to her manager to confirm that this was something that Twitter was doing, and she didn't. And so in that, yes, she, made a mistake.
The white guilt is strong.
The white guilt is strong with that one.
I'm sorry. It's May 29th. They will close their company-owned stores in the U.S. to conduct racial bias training in order to address implicit bias, promote conscious inclusion, and prevent discrimination so everyone feels safe and welcome at Starbucks. The curriculum will be developed with guidance from national and local experts and all these other, and the training will impact nearly 175,000 employees across the country and will become become core to the orientation process for our new partners.
So speaking of inclusion, I think it was in California. I heard this on our local news. My uncle had it playing earlier today that, a little girl got in trouble for calling another little girl her best friend. And her teacher told her that she was not allowed to say that because it did not promote inclusivity. And her mom got really upset, and the teacher and the school stood their ground. You are not allowed to call someone your best friend because it may promote cliques.
That's awesome.
Tell me, when did our country become the police state for inclusivity to the point where you are now censored? Pull them out of the schools. If your children are in public schools, I don't care whether you live in California or not. When you send your child to the government school, you hand them over and you agree, my child will abide by your rules and not my own. Now, I also did see something in California. A letter was sent out to parents kind of on the same matter and said that the parents were not allowed to have their children opt out of, I want to say it was LGBT. I think. I need to confirm that before I just throw news at you. But I do know, I don't remember what the topic was. But my point is that it said that the parents are allowed to teach it at home, but they're not allowed to have their child excluded from whatever the indoctrination was. Somebody had sent that to me, and I'll try to find that while Leah's going. But still, pull them out. You don't have any control of your child.
Here's another reason to pull them out. This high school history textbook questions Trump's mental stability, says his supporters were afraid of diversity. An updated version of the popular high school history textbook questions President Donald Trump's mental stability and suggests his supporters are fearful of ethnic diversity. This woman, Alex On Air, is a talk show host with WNOW-FM in Indianapolis. First shared the images of Pearson's book's questionable lessons last week. And here are some pictures of it. And she highlighted, this is a real deal. This is a real textbook. And I want to read you some of the things.
Wow.
It's written by James W. Frazier. Is for advanced placement students in grades 9 through 12. And it says that in the Trump's 2016 presidential success was a victory for people who, like themselves, had been forgotten in a fast-changing America, a mostly older, often rural and suburban, and overwhelmingly white group. Okay. Then it continues. Clinton supporters fear that the election had been determined by people who were afraid of a rapidly developing ethnic diversity of the country, discomfort with their candidate's gender, and nostalgia for an earlier time in the nation's history. The author made a special note about the president's mental fitness. Clinton supporters also worried about the mental instability of the president-elect and the anger that he and his supporters brought to the nation. Frazier also hypothesized former President Barack Obama's 8 years in the White House were difficult for American voters who had long thought of the nation as a white and Christian country. I thought Barack Obama was a Christian. As for Clinton, a student told Alex on air, the textbook never mentions the fact that the former Secretary of State deleted many of the documents associated with her use of the private email server.
Oh,
So
they didn't talk about the bleach.
Again, get them out. Get them out.
So I totally can't find that. I'm sorry, guys, but I know it was one or the other. It was LGBT. I'm almost positive that that's what it was. So yeah, you have no control over your child in the public school system. Pull them.
All right. You're at Resistance Chicks. You know I got to go into Syria. I know it's not in the title, but it's the biggest thing on my brain right now. First off, Mattis wanted congressional approval before striking Syria, but he was overruled.
That's interesting.
And before I go into this, I realize that we have hardcore Trump supporters.
Love you
and
people.
that you want to wake up every morning and do your job
and just say, whatever
put
Trump
in.
does, we trust in Trump.
And that's fine. You can fast forward here because we don't just trust in Trump. Because I'm telling you why. You shouldn't put your trust in anybody. And we all said when Trump was elected that everybody who believed in him on certain issues, they were going to hold his feet to the fire.
Yep.
If we stop doing that, then the deep state wins. Why? Because we're a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And if we don't tell our leaders what we think that they should do, then we are mindless drones.
Right.
We aren't supposed to just elect people and forget about it. We're supposed to meet with our leaders and talk to them about issues, and then they're supposed to take our consensus back to Washington.
It used to be that you could even go, and obviously we can't do that now, but you could go and meet with the president. I mean, if you wanted to wait in line long
Lincoln
enough,
had a line.
you know, so we have such a disconnect
So
now.
if Trump ran on a set of issues, and then he wavers hugely from one of the biggest issues, which is we don't want to intervene in any more foreign wars. We're done with Iraq. We don't want to go back to what we did in Libya and all these things that the deep state did. Barbara Bush just died. The Clintons and the Bushes and the Obamas ran this whole deep state 7 country in 5 years, but it took a lot longer. They're still working on Syria, you know, the best, you know, laid plans, good intentions and all that. They tried. And,
But to reiterate what you said earlier, here Trump is getting ready to meet with Rocket Man.
Right.
He has the name Rocket Man, dude. And yet he can't
But
meet
Bashar
with
al-Assad is some extreme
al-Assad.
crazy dictator. Dude, dude, he's not on the level
It
of
doesn't
North
work that
Korean
way.
dictator Rocket Man, okay? Christians are allowed to practice Christianity and he celebrates Easter.
They're allowed to watch movies in Syria.
That's
got kind of a big deal.
They would have the internet if the infrastructure wasn't bombed to smithereens.
Yeah, that's not their fault.
That is one of the most secular, it is the most secular Middle Eastern country.
Right.
So I am proud of Mattis. That actually tells me a lot. And he was afraid of an escalation that would lead to nuclear war.
Right.
People don't recognize how close you are when one country does something, another country has to retaliate, and then this country has to retaliate. Good thing Putin actually loves his people and does not want nuclear war, and he's willing to be smacked around and treated like scum. Why would he meet with the North Korean Rocket Man before Putin? Okay, it absolutely makes no sense to me. So I'm going to play this for you. This is Rand Paul at a hearing on the policy in Yemen on the 17th. It just happened. And he gives a larger overview of, again, and I'm going to keep hammering this because this is the truth. And I really feel like we're on the verge of a breakthrough. We have to break the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
If we're going to get our country back. That's one of the biggest things. We can't continue these foreign wars. Here he goes.
Thank you for your testimony. Ambassador Satterfield, I guess some people, when they think about our strategy, might question the idea of our strategy. You know, if your son was shooting off his pistol in the backyard and doing it...
Just in case you didn't know, Saudi Arabia is in Yemen right now. And they have bombed people. They're starving people. Their death toll of innocent civilians, I don't know what it's at right now, but it's more than the 40 fake ones. Why aren't we bombing Saudi Arabia?
That's a very good question. And then we've talked about that before.
Indiscriminately and endangering the neighbors, would you give them more bullets or less? And we see the Saudis acting in an indiscriminate manner. They've bombed funeral processions. They've killed a lot of civilians. And so our strategy is to give them more bombs, not less. And we say, well, if we don't give them the bombs, somebody else will. And that's sort of this global strategy that many in the bipartisan foreign policy consensus have. We have to always be involved. We always have to provide weapons, or someone else will, and they'll act even worse. But there's, I guess, a lot of examples that doesn't seem to be improving their behavior. You can argue it's marginally better since we've been giving them more weapons, but it seems the opposite of logic. You would think you would give people less, or you might withhold aid or withhold assistance to the Saudis to get them to behave. But we do sort of the opposite. We give them more aid. What would your response be to that?
Senator, when I noted in my remarks that progress had been made on this issue of targeting, minimizing, or mitigating civilian casualties.
You know, it's so nice that these men in their suits get to use terms like, we had made progress on mitigating civilian casualties or whatever. Killing innocent people. Can you just call it what it is? You don't get to try to mitigate killing innocent people.
True.
Whatever it is, your goal is, if an innocent person dies, you don't get to do your goal. Especially if your Saudi is thinking in Arabia.
That phrase was carefully chosen. And to elaborate further on my colleague's remarks, Robert Karam, we do work with the Saudis and have, particularly over the last 6 to 9 months, worked intensively on the types of munitions the Saudis are using, how they are using, how to discriminate target sets, how to assure, through increased loiter time by aircraft, that the targets sought are indeed clear of collateral or civilian damage. This is new. This is not the type of interaction that we had with the Saudis during the time when those...
And yet the overall situation in Yemen is a disaster.
The overall situation is extremely bad, right. Senator.
So I guess that's really my question. We ought to rethink, and I think from a common sense point of view, a lot of people would question giving people who misbehave more weapons instead of giving them...
So you got a 5-year-old, right? Do you hand him a gun? We're going to teach our 5-year-old how to just randomly go... This is not a bad example, because nobody would do that. Because if you taught somebody how to use something properly, you would teach them not to kill people.
Right.
But the fact that we gave people, and he's like, this is new. We gave people these weapons, but you know what? We decided that we do need to teach them first how to use them and how not to kill innocent people, because they didn't really care about that. So yes, we want to make billions of dollars. We have manufacturers many people in Congress, many corporations invest in these weapons manufacturers. Right. So in order to keep their stock price up, they've got to sell it to somebody. And so Saudi Arabia's got a lot of money. So why don't we sell it to them? I'm really sorry that they killed people with it. Probably way more than 40 with the stupid chemical gas attack.
But there aren't actually any confirmed deaths, by the way.
No, none, by the way.
Them less. On another question, which I think is a broad question about, what we are doing in the Middle East in general, you admitted that there's not really a military solution in Yemen. Most people say it's going to be a political solution. The Houthis will still remain. We're not going to have Hiroshima. We're not going to have unconditional surrender and the good guys win and the bad guys are vanquished. Same with Syria. Most people have said for years, both the Obama administration and this administration, probably even the Bush administration, this situation will probably be a political solution. There will no longer, it's not going to be complete vanquishment of the enemy. We're also saying that in Afghanistan, and I guess my point as I think about that is I think about the recruiter at the station in Omaha, Nebraska, trying to get somebody to sign up for the military and saying, please join. We're going to send you to 3 different wars where there is no military solution. We're hoping to make it maybe a little bit better. I think back to Vietnam. Oh, we're going to take one more village. If we take one more village, they're going to negotiate. We'll get a little bit better negotiation. I just can't see sending our young men and women to die for that, for one more village. You know, the Taliban have 40% in Afghanistan. What are we going to give? When they get to 30%, they'll negotiate, and it'll have been worth it for the people who have to go in and die and take those villages. I don't think it's one more life. I don't think it's worth one more life.
Preach
the war
it,
in
buddy.
Yemen's not
Thank
hard.
you,
We
Rand.
talk all about the Iranians have launched hundreds of missiles. Well, yeah, and the Saudis have launched 16,000 attacks. Who started it? It's a little bit murky back and forth. The Houthis may have started taking over their government, but that was a civil war. Now we're involved in it. Who are the good guys? Are the Saudis the good guys? Are the others the bad guys? Thousands of civilians are dying. 17 million people live on the edge of starvation. I think we need to rethink whether or not military intervention, supplying the Saudis with weapons, whether all of this makes any sense at all, or whether we've made the situation worse. I mean, humanitarian crisis, we're talking about, oh, we're going to give money. The Saudis are giving them money, and I'm like, okay, so we bomb the crap out of them, and the Saudis give them $1 billion. Maybe we could bomb less. Maybe part of the humanitarian answer is supplying less weapons to a war. There's a huge arms race going on. Why do the Iranians do what they do? They're evil. Well, or maybe they're responding to the Saudis. Who responded first? Who started it? Where did the arms race start? But if we sell $300 billion of weapons to Saudi Arabia, what are the Iranians going to do? They react. It's action and reaction throughout the Middle East. And so we paint the Iranians as these evil monster, and we just have to correct the evil monster. But the world's a much more complicated place, back and forth. And all I would ask is that we try to get outside our mindset that what we're doing is working, because I think what we're doing hasn't worked, and we've made a lot of things worse, and we're partly responsible for the humanitarian crisis in Yemen.
All right, so I want to, here's my thought on this.
Mike, drop.
Anybody that just listened to that speech with half a brain says, you know what? Even if I don't agree with you, that makes a lot of sense. The people that he is speaking to are hearing what he's saying, but they are not listening and they are not receiving it.
Right.
Why? Because they are already bought off.
Right.
They've already made their decision. He's not going to change any of their minds because people above them have already made the decision for them, and they are already a part of the corruption. It's like he's sitting down and talking to somebody that is a member of the mafia saying you have to stop your gun running or this doesn't make sense. You're not going to change a crook's mind. They're not going to listen. And that's why, because so many of us watch Rand Paul and we listen to what he says and we're like, oh my gosh, that should change the entire government. That one single speech alone, if any one of our representatives heard that, it would all catch like wildfire and they would say, of course, you're so right, Rand. But they're all bought off, and that is why. One thing I need to cover, Patriot Gallery came out a little bit ago, and she wanted me to remind those of you that are new / back with us on our Mass Faith 3 channel that our chat is usually a family-friendly chat. The moderators that are here have been given no guidelines whatsoever. They are just people that I trust to be moderators. So if they time you out or they mute you, it's because they didn't like what you had to say and they didn't feel like it fit with us. I give them free reign. If they want to ban you, they are allowed to ban you. So I don't tell them to mute curse words. I just don't. That's what they choose. And they usually represent everybody else in the chat. That's not what they want to see. And so I let the power in the people's hands. And the people say, we don't want y'all. So if you want your comment to be left and to be heard, you might want to make it family friendly. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. All right. So I really should change the title to this, but we can't. We're going to cover Nigel and the House of Lords in a second. But
let's not get our channel live streaming banned as soon as we get it back.
This man and his child were at the chemical attack in the hospital, and they say there wasn't one. That they were drawn into the hospital because somebody said they smelled something. His wife and children. He heard they were in the hospital. And he said, "What are you doing in here?" And his wife says, "We heard there was a chemical, so we came inside. They started dousing us with water." They didn't say anybody died.
Right.
They didn't say that they were. They just literally. He's in the video that they took, and he's one of the main kids that they're dousing with water. But he wasn't part of any chemical attack. This chemical attack did not happen.
And we're about to go to war with Russia over it.
"11-year-old Syrian boy who was presented as a victim of the chemical attack." Go ahead.
In Duma, but the White Helmets...
By the White Helmets.
Excuse me. Thank you. By the White Helmets has told us how this video was shot. We heard a cry outside shouting, "Go to the hospital."
We ran to the hospital, and as soon as I entered,
they grabbed me and started pouring water on me. I was doing construction job at the local stadium. When I found out that my family was in the hospital, I almost went crazy. I left work and returned to our district. I didn't see anyone. I didn't hear anything about the chemical attack. I smoked outside and felt nothing. I entered the hospital and asked about my family. I saw that water had been poured in the room and saw some children.
By the way, this guy is not an actor. Like, this is real. Like, this is what really happened. You can't, this isn't, you can't fake this kind of attitude. Like, he's not Hollywood. I mean, you have to be, you know,
right.
This is really what happened in his eyes.
Yeah. They shouted, "Hello!" I went upstairs and saw my wife and children.
You can see joy. He's glad that they're okay.
I asked, "What are you doing here?" They answered, "Someone shouted outside that they started to smell something." So we ran here. After that, we were given dates and cookies. Praise be to Allah, the children were fine.
Some people, we don't know any one of them come to here and they said chemical attack here in the...
He just said people came in, we don't know who they are, they yelled chemical attack.
Hospital, we didn't see any chemical attack symptoms.
We didn't see any chemical attack symptoms. Now, this is the same line that Pearson Sharp, one American news network, is over there. That's the same narrative that the Fisk, I don't know his first name, BB British reporter, they're literally on the ground saying, talking to people, and nobody knows of any chemical attack. Nobody knows of any dead bodies.
Right.
The article that I read with the Fisk guy, he says there's no, the main doctor, the head physician at the hospital says, you can check our morgue.
No one died.
No bodies. Nobody died. There's no bodies. We bombed Syria. There's no bodies. This is the most cut and dry false flag there has ever been.
I want to tell you guys something. Unfortunately, the reporters that are going in are not mainstream media reporters. They aren't even Fox News. None of the mainstream media, including Fox News, will go in because they haven't been given the green light to do so. Because any reporter worth a quarter of their salt will go in and find this exact same thing. And if that got spread on the mainstream media, that we are going to war with Russia and Syria over an attack that never happened, all heck would break loose. We would have civil war on our hands. So that is why it makes no sense for reporters from the Washington Post, from the New York Times, from the Washington Tribune, all of these, not just
so here's the kid.
News media.
Here's the kid in the video. It's the same child. This is the child.
I mean, not just like video media, like what we see on cable and stuff. I'm talking about just newspapers, a Time magazine. People should be sending massive reporters into an area where the biggest thing that is happening in our society, in the world right now is happening. And yet no reporters. It's crickets. We're going to war over this, and not a single reporter is going over there. The silence alone should tell our diehard Trump supporters that something is wrong with this picture.
So, we told you this before, but the Syrian chemical victims suffered from dust inhalation, and that is from the independent Robert Fisk. I went ahead and brought it up. He quotes doctors in Duma saying the victims suffered from dust inhalation and that a member of the White Helmets caused panic by falsely saying gas at the triage center. The White Helmets were then bussed out with other jihadists. We are now being told that if the Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons doesn't find evidence, that it's the Syrian government that covered it up. So no matter what, but it is the dust and not the gas. This is Robert Fisk. He is not some far right. He is a liberal. He's like your regular. He is a regular mainstream media reporter. Okay, and he published a report that said he went there. He talked to the staff at the hospital, including the medic in training, who's an eyewitness to the incident, and everyone is giving the same story on the ground. Pearson Sharp has randomly interviewed people. Nobody knows anything about a chemical attack. This guy, Robert Fisk, went around trying to randomly interviewing people, and nobody heard of any chemical attack. And so, yeah, this makes Donald Trump look bad, but he could come out and look strong. I think he needs to turn it around. I think he does.
Can I just, okay, so I get you send me stuff on Q, and I get it. I do. And I'm not discounting Q. I don't address it because I don't put a lot of stock in it. It could be. Okay, but I just don't follow it. My mom does, so she keeps up on it for us. All right. A lot of people are saying that he bombed deep state bunkers and all this. Follow the White Rabbit. I see your comments and I feel you, and I want you to know that I respect you guys deeply with this because I know that you're committed to trying to find the truth. That being said, if that's true, you can't come out and allow the entire world to believe that a president of a country chemically gassed his own people and tell the entire world that you are going to war. Essentially, he didn't say that, but that's what it signified, that you're going to war with Syria and Russia over something that didn't happen so that you can bomb a deep state bunker of chemicals.
Right.
You can't do it, guys. You can't. I don't care what Q says. I don't care what Trump says. If that is what it was, Trump needed to come out and say this. I had to do something. I can't tell you what it was. I can't tell you why it was. I'm going to tell your senators. I'm going to tell your congressmen, but it is classified and I can't tell you, and I'm sorry. I have to do this thing. You do not blame it on Bashar al-Assad. You do not go to war over something like this just so you can do that. Okay? I'm sorry. That's just not how things are done. And if that is what he is doing, it's still wrong.
Yeah, and here's the thing. There's absolutely no proof of that. The two sites that were supposedly chemical sites, for all intents and purposes, they look like they were just medical sites working on cancer treatments and things like that. There's no proof. And one of the people who lives there, standing next to this thing, says, I was right here. I was around here. Nothing blew up. I love how somebody said they have a damper in there to obliterate chemicals. That's not how chemicals work. If you bomb them, they go into the air. Okay, there's no special douser bomb.
This isn't a movie.
They're just tomahawks.
All right, Patriot Gallery. Do you need your puppet?
No, I just think Trump expects us to be. He gives us more credit than you think. He thinks we're smarter. In one of the posts, he said, one of his tweets, he said, Putin will be coming fast and smart. Missiles will be coming fast and he told him what he's going to do, like 7 days before he did it.
If there is one silver lining, he did warn.
He expected everybody to think about it, but at the same time, one of the Q posts led me to research some stuff. And a smart bomb is a bomb they used in World War II. And it was called smart because they were bombing bridges and railroad tracks and like factories, would make defense weapons. And they would miss and stuff because the bombs weren't smart. The bombs had to be smart enough to know to hit a small target like a railroad track or a bridge. And so they added something to the tails of the bombs and made them extra heavy, like 700 to 1,000 pounds. And they would drop out of airplanes, bombers, and they would go straight to where they're supposed to go, and they were called smart bombs. So when Trump said smart, he's talking about a vertical bomb. A vertical bomb is called a smart bomb, and it goes straight down. He's also taking it's going to be an old bomb, because I don't know if they make smart bombs anymore. This is World War II technology that I was reading about.
So, okay, since you guys are family, and I haven't had a chance to share this with my own family, that's really interesting that Patriot Gallery came out and said that. I've not heard her say that before. I had a dream last night that we were at our old church in Tulsa, and there were a bunch of us, and it kind of represented you guys as a family, and we were all gathered outside for this new building, and there were all these bridges that kind of led to where we were, and there were these bombers that came over. And they were literally just dropping these bombs on this bridge, on these bridges, and we could see them coming to bomb that bridge and that bridge and that bridge and that bridge, and it was coming to the bridge where we were. And I told Lee, I said, that bomb is coming right for us, right by this bridge. And I knew we didn't have time to run. I said, I'm jumping in the water. And so I jumped in the water and went down, and it did bomb that bridge. I don't know what happened to you. I'm sorry. But that is really interesting that she should say that, because I've not heard that before.
Well, that's great. I hope I jump in the water. Putin reportedly ready for deep concessions, seeks a deal with Trump. So the U.S. had notified the Russian embassy that no sanctions would be forthcoming. There was a big hoopla with Nikki Haley saying, we're going to put sanctions on Russia, we're going to do this, that. And then they had to contradict whatever. Nikki Haley's comments from Sunday, but affirming a Washington Post report the following day, and it appears Russia is responding positively to that reported comment. As Bloomberg reports that Russian President Putin wants to give President Trump another chance to make good on pledges to improve ties and avoid escalation. If he's going to try to improve ties with North Korea, you have to improve ties with Russia first. Seriously. According to 4 people familiar with the matter, one said that the Kremlin has ordered officials to curb their anti-U.S. rhetoric. Putin's decision explains why lawmakers Monday suddenly pulled a draft law that would have imposed sweeping counter-sanctions on the U.S. companies. 2 of the people said Putin is ready to make numerous deep concessions, but he has to appear like he's not losing. He understands Russia can't compete with the West economically, and he doesn't plan to go to war with the West. Duh.
Aaron on Resistance Chicks on Facebook sent me a message. I think it was supposed to be a comment, but it says, Putin gains nothing by going to war with the U.S. Who benefits from war? It is certainly not the American people or even the Russians, Syrians, etc. The better question is simply this: who profits from war?
That is the best question to be asking. Who actually profits from the war? That's a really good question. All right, I want to play for this. The German broadcaster NTVDE interviewed a doctor working in the hospital in Duma. There was no patients with chemical attacks. So here's another thing, another one. So here's the thing: when you keep having, after the dust has settled, literally, and you have reporter after reporter, we had a British reporter, an American reporter, now we have a German reporter on the ground, and they're all reporting the same thing. A little boy plays the harmonica.
Ein kleiner Junge spielt
Pretty well.
Mundharmonika.
Duma destroyed by the merciless airstrikes of the Russian and Syrian Air Force. Here is where the gas attack is supposed to have taken place. We asked people what they experienced on the 7th of April. I felt a weird smell. After a couple minutes, the smell was gone, and after a glass of water, I felt better. No, we felt and smelled nothing. They said it was like most of the people we talked to here. Only this man says he does not want to be in front of the camera. Yes, there was clearly a smell of chlorine. He doesn't know who could have used it. In close proximity to the hospital, a working doctor tells us, Saturday, a week ago, we treated people with breathing problems, but chlorine or glass poisoning, no, those are different symptoms. What is true and believable of this, we don't know. What's up? That's up to the experts to find out. This can take up to 30 days. The people here are busy getting their life back on track. It was horror, the repeat airstrikes, and the militias used us as human shields. We had nothing to eat for days. The last militias withdrew on Saturday. This officer of the army tells us and explains the tunnel system to us through which they communicated. If there was a poison gas attack, who and when it used remains unclear. So this is obviously an unbiased reporting, and they're just saying, the people there say nothing. Somebody might have smelled something, but there's bombs going off. Could have hit any sort of canister. Could have hit, I don't know, a gas tank. Could have hit anything. It's all fake. It's a fake. It's fake.
Right. Patriot Gallery once again.
Well, I was thinking more about the Iran thing. You notice in these pictures, what I was noticing, a lot of men are shaven. I thought that's odd because I thought it's a Muslim country. They'll all be, but no, all the people and the doctors, basically probably for cleanliness reasons, the doctors were all shaven, but a lot of men are shaven in this picture.
Yeah, they are.
And not all the women are covered. You see a lot of them fully covered. But the thing about Iran is they were modern, and they didn't do the Sharia law. Right. And then that was overthrown. Now they're strict Muslims now, and they're oppressive.
Right.
And so the thing of it is Israel asked Iran to stay 100 kilometers away from their border, and they refuse. And so somebody found out that Iran wanted to make chemical weapons in Damascus. It's just like 5 miles away or 10 miles away from Israel. And one of the places they bombed was supposedly a chemical plant. And so it's almost like if you reread, look back upon Trump's tweets or even his speeches, and like Assad's an animal, how can he do this? Almost like he's mocking Theresa May and Macron and going along with him when he has his own plans. He said everybody in basically in Q, we're going after Iran. And so they were bombing places where they knew Iran was trying to make chemical weapons because, because of the Rothschilds, they put Israel there. Most people want Israel to be gone.
Right.
And so if they gas them all, they'd all be gone, I guess. I don't know. So this is what it was supposed to be.
Interesting take. That's the Q take. So thank you, Patriot Gallery, for that. All right, we're gonna I'm gonna move on here to British news because we have our wonderful Brits. I don't think you're awake with us right now. They'll watch it later. So Nigel, I guess there's a petition. Let's just hear Nigel.
All I can say is the House of Lords is stuffed full of former MPs, party donors, spivs, former European commissioners. They're a London-based clique. Most of them are mates of Blair's and Cameron's. The whole place is a complete and utter disgrace. And the sooner we close the whole shooting match down and replace it with an elected Senate, the better.
So this is, if the House of Lords wants to challenge the sovereignty of the people, then the people will challenge the existence of the House of Lords. And Nigel says that he doesn't normally share petitions or anything like that, but there's a petition out. Give the electorate a referendum on the abolition of the House of Lords. The House of Lords is a place of patronage where unelected and unaccountable individuals hold a disproportionate amount of influence and power, which can be used to frustrate the elected representatives of the people. So the government will respond when there's 100,000 signatures. And
I think they'll get it.
And I always laugh. I think about, our founding fathers, one of their major things was we're not going to do lineage. We don't have lords and ladies and dukes and.
But you can buy it.
Well, yeah, but the name and the title and passing it down. Now, of course, we have it here. I mean, how do you think Bush Jr. got elected again? You know, Hillary Clinton was supposed to be elected again. It's kind of the same thing.
With the Michelle Obama thing.
The Kennedys keep getting elected, so we have it. We do. It's just
it's not the same.
It's not on the outside, like it's underneath. So you guys can put that in the comments what you think. I have some good news. Interesting for Hungary is that George Soros is pulling out. I don't even think I have it up. George Soros is taking his headquarters from Hungary, and he's moving it to Brussels, maybe.
Hang on though, because I thought they kicked him out of Hungary.
Well, because of that, and I'm I think this Hungarian foreign minister hit back at George Soros in Parliament. So George Soros has been feeling the pinch, and he's moving. He's moving out of Hungary, his headquarters.
So earlier in the Facebook live chat, Kate had pointed out, and I think it might have been Dan, all wars are bankers' wars.
Mm-hmm.
So why? What is the answer? The question is, why would we do this? I've mentioned it before. The American dollar is on its way out. It's getting ready to implode. There are a lot of reasons, and most of them are because of the bankers. This is the last ditch effort.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we're going to sum things up here. So tomorrow, during this national walkout, our favorite little conservative Parkland survivor, Kyle, he is actually planning a live stream. It's the Columbine anniversary, which is why they chose it, 420.
Right.
Olive Kashev, he says, I'm working on having 4 prominent speakers, one every 15 minutes, go live on Facebook between 10 and 11 a.m. on Friday to discuss ways to save lives without infringing on the Second Amendment and the importance of mental health and not bullying. Kashev is only 16 years old, and he is just sharp as a tack. And I'm watching this kid. He is like, it's like God's hand is on him, because if it wasn't for him, there would just be this whole push against the Second Amendment, and he has like put on this mantle and this anointing. Is like Josiah in the Bible. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. God has anointed this young man to be a voice, because right now it's like women and children are the ones who have a voice. If he was a black kid, he might have a bigger voice. I'm sorry, but because he's, it's levels of
exactly.
He's still a child, so he's white, but he's still a victim of the Parkland shooting, so he has more Trump. It's like, what card are you playing? What Trump card are you playing?
Right.
I'm a victim, the same as David Hogg. We're both white kids. Okay? Mano y mano.
But
let's
he's
take it
younger
on.
than David.
But he is 2 years younger than David Hogg.
Right.
And he is whip smart. And he's learning every day. He's like watching a computer learn. It's just amazing. So his speakers for the live stream so far include Sebastian Gorka, Charlie Kirk, Anthony Scaramucci, Michael Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Apparently, according to people at my school, Friday's school walkouts were approved by the school. The same school board blocked Charlie Kirk from coming and said that they are not letting the MSD get political on campus. However, they are going to allow Charlie Kirk to come.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So originally he planned to bring Kirk to. He did plan to bring him on Friday, but he is. I don't know if he's coming this Friday or not. It's all happening in real time. But he's doing a good job. And conservative activist disinvited from student organized event at Stonemas Douglas High.
Welcome back. Gun rights advocate.
There we go.
It's mixed up
got
there.
it.
Charlie Kirk invited to speak to
He's
students
like
at
us.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, about the Second Amendment and their rights. But then school administrators stepped in.
Kirk writing this on Twitter, he said, "It seems there has been a decision to not allow me on campus. However, I bet if I was advocating for gun confiscation, things would be quite different."
Well, here to tell us what exactly happened, founder and we cannot speak today, Greg. Executive Director of 34 USA, Charlie Kirk. Charlie, good to have you on this morning.
Good morning.
All right, so what happened? You were invited to speak about gun rights, and then what?
That's correct. I was invited by a group of students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. Kyle Kashuv and Patrick Petty were kind of the leaders of that. And, we wanted to have a conversation, not just about gun rights, not just about natural rights, the Constitution, but also solutions. And I want to be very clear. My mission would not have been to offend. I didn't want to, make anyone feel uncomfortable, but instead inform. And here's what really troubles me, is that ever since that horrific shooting, the national conversation, predominantly from students of that school, has been about gun confiscation, about taking people's guns away. When in reality, we looked at the failure of the FBI, the failure of the local police, the cowards of Broward. There's a lot of reforms and conversation that needed to happen around this. And unfortunately, the administration interceded and said that I would not be allowed to come on campus to an optional after-school event where students would not be forced to attend. And I think that's a little disappointing because there's another side of the story that needs to be heard here.
So, Charlie, I think you hit the key points. Optional after-school event invited by students. Listen, we all understand what happened at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, obviously a touch point, but if you're going there to have a conversation about solutions, why would you be blocked when, say, a gun confiscation group or an anti-Second Amendment group probably wouldn't be?
Well, it's because the predominant philosophy amongst the administration and teachers is that of a gun confiscation left-wing worldview. I mean, if I was advocating for more of the, the dogmatic anti-gun narrative, I don't think I would have been disinvited. And I want to reinforce this. It would have been optional, would have been after school, and I was invited by students. I'm not trying to impose myself upon the students. I was reached out to by a group of students. In fact, I communicated with some students at the school that messaged me and they said, Charlie, I don't agree with you politically, but I want to hear your perspective. And look, there's a lot of division happening in this country. More speech is going to solve that, not disinvitation of speakers or the blocking of different ideas.
Charlie, let me just turn to my favorite topic because I've covered them a lot. Antifa, very quickly. Some Antifa folks stormed a conference in Chicago and started a fire. What's up with that?
Your conference, right?
Antifa started the fire. That's right. There's a Turning Point USA conference yesterday. Masked Antifa protesters and thugs came to our conference yesterday and started a fire, and some were charged and arrested. Look, the left hates the idea that there are other ideas, and we were just trying to peaceably train our student leaders from all across the Midwest, and these spoiled brats had to come here and try to disrupt and try to cause commotion and chaos. And look, you look simply at what the left is trying to do. They feel so uncomfortable with their own perspective and their own life. They try to ruin conservatives' capacity to be able to train and advance our ideas. And so we're not going to take this sitting idly by. They're supposed to come back to our conference today, and we're going to use local police and every tool we have at our disposal to try to.
So we'll see what happens there. Speaking of conservatives, let's see, one last thing here. All right, this Brent Boswell, this is the emerging of the greatest censorship of free speech worldwide in the history of man. Now, let me explain this. The left is not on a jihad against conservative thought. It's happening in academia, business, and religion, and everywhere.
Done by my colleagues Dan Gaynor and Ashley Goldenberg. It's 50 pages documenting what conservatives have been suggesting has been happening. It sounds hyperbolic, but Lord, this is true. This is the emerging, the greatest censorship of free speech
not even kidding
worldwide in the history of man.
Yeah,
and let me explain this. The left is on a jihad against conservative thought.
Right.
It's happening in academia, in entertainment, in business, religion, everywhere. Everywhere where they're attacking, they're suppressing conservative thought. Now they're going to the social media giants. These social media giants have audiences in the billions. And what we've shown in this massive report is whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Google or YouTube, they're all employing different tactics to go against conservatives.
Let's go through some of them. We have a full screen on this. Censorship of conservative speech. Here's some examples. Google search aids Democrats and study found that 2016 campaign searches were biased in favor of Hillary Clinton. YouTube shutting down conservative channels by mistake by removing videos that promote right-wing political views. And tech companies Facebook and Google are relying on anti-conservative fact-checkers like Snopes and Wikipedia. Now, why is Wikipedia, for our viewers out there, why is that a left-wing?
Well, if you look at so many things Wikipedia does, it puts a liberal spin against conservatives on a regular basis.
We always have to edit my page. I know that.
Well, I've had to do it. I've had to
right?
do it a
I don't even.
million
I've stopped
times.
looking. It's easier that way.
They just insert
Right.
nasty stuff about you. No, they've been partnering. YouTube has been partnering with them to unmask conservatives and to go against conservative content and to uncover these awful conservatives and what they're doing.
You guys know we talk about it every day. I just wanted to bring another voice into it. I mean, the Hillary Clinton lost the election. The deep state found out they were losing. So even with Google search, like when you would type in Clinton,
Right.
they would have all these wonderful things about Clinton. If you went to like DuckDuckGo or another one or some other one,
Right.
then Clinton coming in would come up. Clinton investigation, Clinton Foundation, Clinton bribery, things like that. So that's it. That's all I have.
Okay, so Devonna had sent me some screenshots about the tweets that she saw on the B-52 or B-2 bombers that were launched. Now, there are in the screenshots, there have been U.S. Air Force bombers that have gone out of North Dakota, I think. And then some heading towards Long Island. That is a real thing. What they're doing, I haven't been able to find it anywhere else other than Devonna's tweets. So that being said, we will be going live tomorrow night. And if we find out anything in the middle of the night, you never know. We'll be up for an hour or two more and something comes up. I don't know. Maybe we'll just grab our phone and go live if it really is a thing that we need to be covering. But I cannot find any more information on it. She's getting her tweets from Russia USA War Watch and Intelipus, I think. But they say 10 B-2 bombers are linking up with refuel tankers and then pushing towards the Middle East for theater operations. I can't confirm any of this stuff, guys. I just wanted to share what she's sharing with us. If you find any more information out, go ahead, do your research, email it to me, massfaith33@gmail.com.
We do our research before we bring you anything. We try
Right.
not to bring you just anything. That's
Exactly.
why, there's a lot of conspiracy theory channels out there and they will bring you every conspiracy theory. We aren't going to do that.
Nope.
We believe it's not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth.
Meaning we just want to bring you the truth.
Exactly.
Even if it is a conspiracy.
Exactly.
So
we're glad to have you guys here on Mass Faith 3.
Yeah, before we sign off though, I have something I want to
You don't do that tomorrow? Let's do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Saturday, Friday. Yeah.
All right, fine. Never mind. We got an amazing present from Bill Burnett that he worked on for 6 months that I am giddy to show you guys. No, Devonna, it's great. I'm glad that you shared it with us. She says, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help. No, be helpful. Help us. That's great. But what we're trying to tell our viewers is we can't put the Resistance Chicks stamp behind it because we haven't done the research.
A lot of times we say, we bring things and say, okay, this is theory. And then when something's really crazy, if
Right.
it's true, we say this looks like a theory,
Right.
but it's actually true.
Yeah, you could
It's really-
totally be
it's fact.
accurate. It could really be happening, but all we're saying is we haven't had a chance. I just want you guys to know the level of research that we go through before we bring you.
We go through a ton of that
Information.
and we need to start at that one level, right? And then you research. So
Right.
please send us your links. Send
Absolutely.
us your
Absolutely.
information. Put it in the chat. Let other people research. We're a group. We're a family, and iron sharpens iron. So
Yeah. All right. So we will be going live tomorrow. Probably back on Resistance Chicks.
At 6 o'clock.
At 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll probably be our last time, unless we get banned again at some point, on Resistance Chicks Live, because we'll be coming back here. Sunday at 1, we will be back here at Mass Faith 3 Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news show. We've got news for that, and we're going to open up Tracy and Sean's package, which I'm excited about as well. So we're going to sign off here for tonight. Thank you for being here
Don't
with us.
forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, Mass Faith 3, woohoo, and Resistance Chicks.
Yep.
Ring that little bell so you get notifications on both.
Exactly.
We aren't going to over-notify you. We're beyond live on just either one. And follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter to get the news throughout the week. And keep sending
And
us
we
your
have
link.
a website that you can go to that I'm, at the very least, I'm uploading our current videos There are other videos like our interview with Poland. I'm going to throw that up there. Things like that that you may not find anywhere else.
We have a P.O. Box.
ResistanceChicks.com.
107, Milford, Ohio, 45150 if you want to send us letters or neat little things in the mail.
Thank you to our moderators. I know that because we were back on Mass Faith 3, the trolls were strong tonight. You did an excellent job.
Isn't that exciting? We have trolls back.
Heather, Kelly, Donna, Maia was here. I can't remember if anybody else was here or not, but thank you to our moderators. Thank you to all of you guys. Please leave your comments afterwards. The live chat only goes on the channel that we went live with. So on Mass Faith 3, you'll see the live chat replay, but on Resistance Chicks, when I upload this there, it will not be there. So I want to hear from you guys. So, all right, good night. God bless, and we will see you back here on Friday. Bye, guys.
It's cold, all alone. Your place